A lot of my peers share is about academic advisement. I kind of feel like I'm a number at this
Indeed.
point.
Right.
Last time we left off on part 1, leading to academic advisement. Today, we dive right into President Blake's solutions on these hot topics in part 2 of this 3-part series exclusive.
A lack of, assignments for academic advisors, or we get them changed, and then you can't develop a relationship with them, and then they don't know your needs as well.
Exactly.
And so I kind of feel like I'm a number at this point. I've dealt with that in the past, and I feel like that's something that is important for student success. And I feel like a lot of times there's situations that have been mismanaged, and it falls back on the student, and it shouldn't be that way.
Trying to develop a pod system where there's a natural relationship between the student and the pod, which may be multiple advisors, as opposed to having that single point of failure. And so that's also, it's on us to make sure the system is set up such that students can engage with multiple pieces and engage more with the system, so that as we have transition, that's going to naturally occur, that that students don't feel like there's an abrupt change in kind of what they're doing. I do think, though, that you're just going to naturally see some transition. The onus is on us to kind of make sure the career paths are set up in such a way that we get the most, and they get the most out of the experience. A system where you have a group of advisors supporting a group of students sometimes allows, almost like a family practice in sort of a medical facility. You have the doctor that you're most used to, but then the culture of the practice is one where you kind of have the opportunity to go to other doctors there as well, and then it doesn't feel like it's such a abrupt transition when someone rightfully gets the next role. We're looking for more opportunities for parking. So there's certainly some opportunities yet still in our Summer Hill area, which not all students like that coming in and moving over. I think there's got to be opportunities for us to look at the system too, meaning have we assigned parking in such a way that it allows for the most efficient use of our space? It's amazing. You might find that very small tweaks would make the interaction more comfortable for the individual parkers. And then I think just in the city, I mean, there's reasons why students and our faculty and staff alike aren't taking MARTA or taking some of the public transportation. But it's interesting that parking wasn't an issue in one of my previous institutions because the transportation system was so good. No one really wanted to drive in. Everyone wanted to take the train in. So maybe there's opportunities for me to partner with our city and with our transportation officials to find out better ways for us to serve our community. And if we can decompress that, then that would be just naturally helpful, And I'd say the other aspect of that is, and I have a real desire for this, can we have more students on campus, which would reduce the amount of commuting? So I think now we're probably somewhere around 20% of our students, a larger commuting population around the perimeter campuses, but I'd say right in this downtown area, we're 20 to 25% on campus, which compares against 50 plus at other institutions. So we have that much more pressure on our parking facilities than other institutions that are urban institutions in the city. So, systematically, we want to have more of a community, have more students on campus, less need to kind of come in and out each day. And then the combination of that and actually looking at our system and providing more parking, hopefully it's not going to be overnight, but hopefully over multiple years we can get to a position where it's more comfortable. So I've had a number of meetings with our police chief and with our public safety officials about, because that's the thing that a president's most concerned about. That's the safety of our entire community. You don't want to see anything happen to anyone. So I've kind of always focused in on how do we kind of make our processes most effective and where we can make our community most safe. So I think that has to be an ongoing conversation. I think we have to So there's a couple ways. One is we have to make sure we have a strong, you mentioned it, connection with the Atlanta PD. I had a meeting with the district attorney, and it was eye-opening, and to kind of hear the challenges and to understand how important Georgia State is to Atlanta on those areas. But it's important that we team together. It's important that we coordinate our operations so that we can actually have presence, in the campus and the greater Georgia State environment. So I think that piece has got to happen. And so more coordination with me, more coordination with our vice president in this area is one way. That's got to be as effective as we can make it. The other thing is just programming the space. There's a healthy tension between wanting to progress and animate our spaces and make them, program more effectively for everyone. In my previous role, we had one part of campus that was somewhat isolated, and then we had buildings that were not locked. And I felt as provost uncomfortable for the classes that were occurring later at night. And I talked to the president at the time, and I said, look, we gotta lock it down and make it, card access. And we just kind of keep it, make sure we keep the students safe and isolated, maybe put up fence. I'm always like, just lock it down. But the president at that time told me, he said, that's the opposite of what you should do. They said, you should light it up and make sure we have stores there and make sure, and frankly, that's the direction we went in. And the more we animated the space, the less it just became a barren space for crime, and it became more safe because there was more people and more activity. So I think that's a big part of how we advance and improve our environment. College town downtown. Can we make it's not going to be closed, but can we make a college town feel for downtown?